The UK is about to serve a severe punishment to South African politicians after they decided to cross this red line. So while many South African politicians, particularly those of the ANC, have thought it's permissible to support the likes of Hamas, Hezbollah, and of course the Iranian regime, many international actors are taking note of this. And as a result, the UK is no exception. Now, it does appear that an effort is underway in the UK to actually punish individual South African politicians for their unacceptable stance. But before we get into this, could I please remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? It's entirely free and all you have to do is click on the subscribe button below the video. If you would like to enjoy some additional perks and support the channel, you can do so by becoming a Power Club member. All you have to do is click on the join button below the video. Now let's get into this. So the politician who is in the spotlight at the moment is none other than Naledi Pandor. Now, of course, Pandor is the former foreign minister of South Africa, head of DIRCO, and she's currently the chair of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And the United Kingdom has noted that she has a lot of extremist rhetoric, and they've decided that they are going to put on pressure to actually ban her from entering the country. Now, as it explains in this article here, Shabana Mahmoud, the Home Secretary, has been urged to bar South African politician who endorsed Hamas from speaking at an event in Britain this weekend. Pandor, who is a former foreign minister, is due to give an address at an event at the Cambridge Centre for Palestine Studies on Sunday. MP from the ANC from 1994 to 2004 previously said that Muslims were permitted to engage in jihad where necessary and stated on camera that armed struggle may become a necessity. Pandor was also photographed in a conversation with senior Hamas officials in Johannesburg and telephoned Ismail Haniyeh, the late Hamas leader, the day after the October 7th attacks carried out by the groups. The Hamas Political Bureau later issued a communique thanking her for expressing solidarity with what they called the Al-Aqsa flood battle, their codename for the coordinated attacks that killed nearly 1,200 people in Israel. So Russell Langer, who is the Director of Public Affairs at the Jewish Leadership Council, said, "In this country, we rightly reject those who associate themselves with Hamas and their murderous rampage on October the 7th. 5 months after the murder of 2 Jews at their place of worship, we also know that such loose calls for armed resistance mean in reality. Such a person has no business being in our country and the Home Office should refuse to grant her visa." Now, what's actually quite important is that some of the most high-up politicians in the UK have also spoken out. So Chris Philp, who is the Shadow Home Secretary, said, "This dangerous extremist should be banned from entering the UK. Supporting Hamas and the terrorist murders, rapes and kidnaps perpetrated on October the 7th is sick. We don't want even more people in the UK radicalized by this dangerous nonsense. If I were Home Secretary, I would ban Naledi Pandor from entering the UK, and if Shabana Mahmoud has any backbone, she will do the same." Lord Walney, who is a former advisor to the government on political violence, said, "This woman's views are incendiary and vile. She must not be allowed into the UK by the Home Secretary. There is a clear route for the government to protect the country by refusing or revoking the visa of any foreign citizen with this kind of record. Shabana Mahmoud has acted swiftly in similar circumstances before, and she must do the same again now." So what's actually really interesting is that although Shabana Mahmoud is part of Keir Starmer's Labour government, and they are generally viewed as being very liberal, a little bit overly tolerant, and not very strong when it comes to such actions, Mahmoud has actually acted very decisively in the past when it comes to South African politicians in particular. So as explained in this specific article, in June 2025, the Home Office denied Julius Malema a UK visa because his vocal support for Hamas and Hezbollah rendered his presence not conducive to the public good. In October 2024, the Home Office also denied a visa to Mandla, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, after he made statements glorifying the October 7th attacks. Now, of course, Naledi Pandor's ban is definitely something that could go through, and it would certainly be a massive statement if it does. But the UK's current actions extend way beyond just that. You see, at this moment in time, the United Kingdom, much like many of its allies around the world, are clamping down not only on Hamas and their supporters, but the entire network, the entire axis of resistance led by the Iranian regime. And we see evidence in the following video clip. So here we have a video from Priti Patel, who is the shadow foreign secretary for the Conservative Party. Let's hear what she has to say.
As well as threatening regional security, the IRGC threatens our homeland. They've been designated a terrorist organization by every corner of the world. The United States, the European Union, many members of the GCC and our Commonwealth partner, Canada. At this time of war, why does the UK diverge from the rest of the world? What leverage over Iran is the government exacting for this position that it's taken not to act? If the government brings forward legislation to prescribe the IGC, we'll stand ready to work with them. And this also applies to the source of funding of the Iranian regime.
So there you have it. There is a push to not only ban people who support Hamas and Hezbollah, but even prescribe the IRGC, a terror organization, as many other world powers have already done. And what's actually interesting is, just as Patel explained, not only has it been the United States and Canada as well as the Western world, but it's also been the GCC, which of course are the Gulf Arab countries. And so this is very much a universal move that has gone ahead. Interestingly enough, as this Iran International article explains, the UK was already in the process of making this move before the current war started. So Britain's government is preparing legislation that would allow ministers to ban the IRGC as pressure grows to respond to the group's role in suppressing anti-government protests. And of course, this is what happened in January of this year. According to the report, the proposed law would enable the proscription of hostile state-linked organizations, including the IRGC. The Times said the initiative follows growing international pressure on Iran, including recent European Union action against the IRGC, which has drawn an angry response from Tehran. Britain's Home Office confirmed it is preparing legislation, but said the bill would not be fast-tracked, despite the IRGC's role in recent crackdown on protesters in Iran, the report said. And so there you have it. We now see how the IRGC, Hamas, and Hezbollah have become complete international pariahs, as have their supporters. And so, while Naledi Pandor and her ilk may continue to enjoy certain power and influence in South Africa, their ability to, let's say, enjoy themselves and spread their narrative internationally is being reduced at an incredibly fast rate. Hopefully, the UK does decide to go through with this ban, and other people will also follow suit in an effort to finally reduce the influence of such extremists once and for all. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. If you found it informative, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.